Everyone, it is so good to be back. I'm going to give it a few minutes for you guys to jump on, but it has been a really long time since I've been able to do a live on YouTube. If those of you have been around for ages, you will know that when I used to go live on YouTube, I would spend half the time in coughing fits, and I felt so bad about it. So for those of you who hung around then and stayed loyal, thank you, I appreciate it. But the good news is I'm cured. The cough is finally gone. It was a 5 to 7 year battle and multiple doctors over that time. Nobody could come up with a solution. Everybody told me that it's just time. And I'm like, 7 years of time is a long time. People would say, stop smoking. I don't smoke. I never have. So in the end, it was a kinesiologist that helped me cure it. So grateful to be able to go live again, to be able to speak on stages again, to be able to use my voice and not have to worry that this tickle is just going to end up in a big fit mid-sentence. So excited to be here. If you are just joining in on this, leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here so that I can make sure you guys can hear me and everything like that before we really get into it. I have so much to go over today. So this may end up being a bit of a longer video, and I'm not guaranteeing that a rant will not present itself. I tend to get pretty passionate when we're talking live, and I have a lot of information to go through, so just be prepared for that. I can see you guys all joining. Hello, Alinta. Hello, Ishara, Rod, Karen. I can see heaps of you guys from the Discord there. Judith, Simon, Dirk, Patrick, Ollie, Dream Chase. Awesome. Good to see you all coming in. Philip grabbed the same honey to cure the cough. Good to hear. Good to hear. I hope it works for you. People wishing for rants. Well, it might be coming. Staunch Money, how you doing? Hello, good to see you on a Sunday. Yeah, I'm live for a reason on a Sunday. There is a lot to show you, as we know. You know, Bitcoin was a little bit tragic overnight, but there's a lot to show you to be prepared for. For those of you who are new to this channel or have, only just recently started watching, back in July of last year, I literally was telling everyone now is a good time to buy. Then in November of last year, I was saying now's a good time to take profits and get out. And now there are so many people that have been waiting this whole year for me to turn bullish. And I haven't done it for, what are we in now? We're in the 5th month of the year. I have not yet turned bullish. So I feel like I'm a little bit cursed because it's the hat trick. It's the 3rd one. And people are now like, no one really paid attention to me in July when I was saying buy. And then maybe 10% of people listened to me in November. Now everyone's listening. And yeah, so the pressure's on to get this one right. Hello from South Africa, Eddie. Lovely to see you here. Yakomi, I'm glad to see you here. Brand newbie, Ellie. Josh, Dan, Leandra, Lenny, call it. I'm not calling it yet, Lenny, but I do have a lot of good news. I also have a lot of bad news. And so I wanted to go live to just show you both sides and what we should be looking out for. Once I get through this complete rage of a thing that I'm going to show you, if there's time left over, we'll have a look at some altcoins and see. This could be the time to start, investing in things that you believe in, I guess. Good things that you believe in. Looks like something interesting is coming. Okay, WNW. All right, let's get into it, guys. First thing I want to show you is, let me just bring up the fear and greed index. And we can see here that we are currently sitting at 22. Now, I wear 2 hats. I wear the hat of a trader and the hat of an investor. As an investor, I never try to pick the top or pick the bottom. I know that that's too hard to do. You just want to be around about right. So a very easy strategy for someone who wants to just invest in cryptocurrency and hold it for the long term being more than a market cycle. So we're talking somewhere between 5 to 10 years at a minimum. If you want to be that kind of investor, buying any time we get under the 25 is usually a pretty good strategy. For me personally, I like to see it at around 20 to 15. That's an excellent time to buy, to dollar cost average, not to go all in, definitely buy in little bits and pieces. But sitting at 22 is kind of around the area that, going just by fear and greed index alone, it's pretty decent area. Now, yes, thank you, Claire. Please throw some likes on this video. Whilst we have Bitcoin going down, we do have something that is going up, and that is my YouTube subscribers. But here we go. I have like OCD, and I don't like seeing this at 5905. So let's get this to 6,000. A nice equal 6,000 would like make me so happy. Probably not on this stream, but the more you guys comment, like, subscribe, things like that, it fires the YouTube algorithm and helps me get my videos around the internet. So very grateful. Also very grateful for this 5,905. My April goal was 5,000. So we're over there. Oh, person who unsubscribed, that's lovely of you. All right, moving on. So let's look at the overall market, and I'm gonna come back to your comments in a minute. I can see you guys having all a fantastic time in the comment box there. But let's start on just taking a big look at Bitcoin first. I am going to go into so much more detail, but I just want to talk about this. We identified this M pattern on this channel back here when we were at the top, and it was the perfect place to short Bitcoin. Since then, all we've done is come down. Now, a lot of people called this channel a break in the channel here, because they drew it to candle closes, and this was the break in the retest. Is that right? I'm not sure. To me, these 2 wicks here create the beginning of the trend line. So for me, I'm drawing them to wicks. And right now, we are literally just bouncing off that. This is an area for Bitcoin's literal last hope. On my Twitter the other day, I posted down here somewhere that we had buy orders trying to hold it around 38,100, but there are also big buys at 37.5. 37.5, I think 37.536 was the exact level that we came to, so very, very close. We do have a bounce now currently. However, we have some things that we really have to be careful of this week, and I would consider any bounce just to be temporary relief for now until we have a proven change in market structure. So, when Centrelink. All right, looking at Ethereum, same deal. If you're drawing it to candle closes, then this is the third touch potential final bounce. To weeks, Ethereum does have a bit more room to continue further down. Now, the important thing, going back to, well, both of them, but we'll go back to Bitcoin. The important thing with Bitcoin is, whilst everybody is watching this daily channel, assuming that this is a bear flag, and look, it is. When you zoom out further to the weekly, we have a very big weekly channel here, and right now we're not even close to it. So it is possible that what the market maker is setting us up to do is break the daily channel, because that is going to induce so many traders to open short positions and then fail to break the weekly, and we have a parabolic rise. That is very possible. And I don't mean parabolic to 100K. I just mean a really big shift out of the weekly range. It seems like the daily bear flag is just too easy of a setup, and they just don't make it that easy for us. Now, whilst I'm on this chart, something to talk about is we have been watching the Dixie over here. And I did make note of this, I think, on Twitter the other day, that this level here, where the Dixie is right now, is where it was when the pandemic broke out. And at that point in time, when the Dixie moved up to these levels, it was this one here, so March 2020, when the Dixie pushed up to this level, Bitcoin hit this low here at 5,100 or 5,000, let's just say round number. And people freaked out. And I actually was around at this time. I would not say I was a professional trader at this point in time, but I was heavily trading. And I remember this very well. A lot of people had short positions open and were very, very excited for their short position. My mind flipped completely. I had a short position as well, but my mind flipped completely. And I thought to myself, will I ever get Bitcoin for $5,000 again? And this is what most people don't think in that fear and panic moment. You know, will I ever get this thing for that price again? And I didn't really have the money to invest in it. But I knew I was never going to get Bitcoin for $5,000 again. So that was my moment there. And I ran with it and did not regret it. Now the Dixie is back where it was before. Not saying that a parabolic rise like this is going to come, because we're in very different circumstances. But what are the similarities? One similarity is that everyone shifted to Bitcoin because of the fear of what was going to happen in the economy. And they felt that this might be a safer place. Whether it is or not this time, when now we're at a point where people are talking that we are potentially on the verge of a recession, will people hold the same view? Bitcoin has never been through a recession. This is going to be Bitcoin's biggest test. Well, cryptocurrency's biggest test, because Bitcoin was invented during the last global recession. So we don't actually know how it's going to hold up this time. The only thing we have to go off is when big fear came into the economy, who did people generally trust? And it turned out it was cryptocurrency. The thing is, the positive with this is that if something really bad like that was to be made official, let's say, we have to then measure where Bitcoin was before it was announced. So at this high here, and how long did it take to get back there? If we measure that out, it took a total of 98 days. So 3 months after a big crash. It looks like nothing on a chart now because now we have 65K. But at the time, that was a huge drop. And we all really felt it. If we measure that out, that drop was a 60% drop. We all really felt. Imagine losing 60% of your portfolio value in 3 candles over 3 weeks. It was pretty hectic. But the recovery was 3 months. It wasn't that long. So this isn't the key thing I want to talk about. It's just one part of the puzzle that I want to point out. And I'm actually going to present you with both bullish and bearish scenarios. So I don't want to come across like I'm saying, by now we're going to 100K. I'm certainly not. There's still 2 sides that we really, really need to be careful of. So that was one. Now, the other thing is, let's just quickly take a look at the market. So we've been through the Dixie. S&P, let's scroll out to this on the daily. So S&P, again, if we go back to, actually, I don't want to have a look at that here. I'm going to have a look at that on a different chart. 2 seconds. I was wondering why it wasn't showing up because I have it all marked. Let's go and have a look at the Dixie S&P here. So S&P during that same period of time came down here 35%, right? That's the same period of time, March 2020. And the argument is that the market was overheated anyway. You can see here that we were trending up nicely, hit a level of resistance a couple of times. Then it just went too parabolic. It was too much of an up. It had to rebalance. It had to come back and settle. We had this big sharp sell-off, and then eventually it came back to where it was before. And as we know, like, we've pushed up ever since. Right now, S&P's only down 14% in comparison. So there is room for that to continue to come down. NASDAQ is more correlated. Bitcoin's more correlated to NASDAQ than anything else because it is made up mostly of tech stocks, which most investors consider Bitcoin to be a tech stock. So NASDAQ came down 32%. Currently, it's down 23%. The problem with this is that tech stocks are not going, and this includes Bitcoin, they're not going to rally until the 10-year, this is the biggest one, the 10-year starts to pull back. So for as long as this is parabolic, if you have a look at this, for as long as this continues to push up, it's not likely that Bitcoin is going to find support and start the next phase of the bull market. So this is something you need to keep an eye on really closely as well. And so we have the factor of what is going on in the world, what is going on with the economy, and what's going on with the traditional markets. All of those things hurt Bitcoin currently until it can become uncorrelated. But here's one thing that I want to point out to you that I have not seen anybody talk about yet. And it's a very, very big factor when it comes to Bitcoin. Now, in my opinion, there are two types of people who move the market when it comes to cryptocurrency. Number one is the market maker. We all know this. We talk about it every video. The second are the miners. Now, if you have to think about it logically, Bitcoin miners, to them, Bitcoin is a business, right? Their business is to mine Bitcoin, and they have a profit and loss. They have a break-even level. You know, they have to keep these things in check. Otherwise, the business goes under. Now, what happened on these two areas that I've pointed out before is repeating right now. And this is why I don't think for trading, for swing trading, it's a moment to be buying this dip. For a long-term 5-year, 10-year DCA, doesn't matter, because if it keeps going down, you're going to keep DCAing, so it doesn't matter. But as a trader, there's a reason to not think that this is the bounce that's going to go up from here. And that reason is this. This article here is explaining to you Bitcoin's network difficulty. We've covered this on this channel before. We covered it last time this happened. But the Bitcoin network difficulty is now again today at an all-time high. When the network difficulty gets to an all-time high, the miners have to rebalance. Otherwise, they fall into the risk of becoming unprofitable, right? And this usually causes a parabolic drop. So, is there anything in this article that I wanted to actually point out? I don't think there was anything I wanted to point out other than the title, but I'll show you this chart here. Having a look here, this was this was a previous all-time high here, and this was in May 14, 2021, and that's when we saw the huge drop. The first time Bitcoin went to 60K, and we had a huge drop. I'll show you that on a proper chart, but you can see here, this gray line is the Bitcoin price. The orange line is the mining difficulty. That was the first time we had a very significant drop. Then we dropped all this way, rose slowly. This here was the next high before we just went sideways. And at this point, Bitcoin had gone from the second time up to 67K, and then it started to fall back, but this caused a significant further drop that most people thought was the bounce point and were buying. So a lot of people got hurt here. Now, when you look at it currently, you can see we're at an all-time high again. To show you what this looks like on an actual chart, these two arrows here are those points in time. So we're talking about a very significant drop that happened in May. And then even though we were pulling back here, from here is when we had the second one, and we had the very significant second drop. Because we had this first drop here in this consolidation, a lot of people were buying Bitcoin at that point in time and then got severely hurt when it further dropped even more. We're there again, and in a probably worse situation. So the question then is this a temporary bounce before we bleed even further? It is very likely that it is. Look, it's fine to scalp, short-term timeframes, longs and shorts and whatnot, but looking for a long-term play right now, thinking the bottom's in, there's an argument to suggest that the bottom is not in. The other thing too is next week we have the FOMC meeting. And the FOMC meeting usually causes pretty volatile market and can, depending on what comes out of that meeting, it can send the market in, either direction. We don't know what is going to be announced, obviously. However, we have two scenarios here at play. A lot of people are calling the US to already be halfway into a recession. And the reason for that is because a recession is considered to be when we have 2 quarters of negative growth. So a lot of people are calling a recession. If Powell calls a recession, that could cause a rally in the markets. Is it likely? Because we have to think to ourselves, does Powell want a recession? Not necessarily. So then if he doesn't, if he tries to hide it, it could cause a further significant drop. And that further significant drop is also going to help out the miners. So yeah, we have to be really, really careful. I'm just going to have a look at some of these comments before I continue on, just to see where you guys are. Can whales just pump for a bit, please? I want a cheeky pension. Don't we all? Yeah, FOMC meetings again, they happen like almost, I think, monthly. So yeah, it's always something to look out for. I'm the belief we get a 3-day pump. It's possible. Look, we have reached a significant level. And when we come to having a look at heat maps, for example, we'll have a look there. We did have the 38,200 was a previous level that I posted on my Twitter. Most of those orders got filled or have been deleted now in this candle, but we have these levels up here that are potential levels for a pullback. So 38,650, currently 38,750. To me, that doesn't signify that this is a bounce again, because price could push up to here. The sellers come in and it pushes price back down. And let's just zoom in on this. Sorry, I know this chart looks really hectic, but I don't even see significant buyers below. So if we push up and reject, I don't see significant buyers below. Also, don't really like looking at heat maps on the weekends because, market makers aren't around. People with the big money, they're not really around. The better chart to look at on a weekend is BitMEX, if anything. So let's just take a quick look and see if BitMEX is showing us anything worth looking at. And BitMEX just looks like it's playing games between two ranges, which is how BitMEX rolls. So we've got 6.3 at 38.50 trying to bring price back down. And then we've got 4.8 million. That's 4.9. That's 4.9 million US dollars worth of Bitcoin trying to hold price up at 37,900. That's just a range. It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean we're going up or down. So heat maps, whilst also just not useful on a weekend, are also just not useful for this live session. What else? So why does the price dropping? It doesn't help miners. It's going to potentially bring that hash rate. Well, the reason that mining difficulty rises because everyone's buying. So that's one good point, actually. Like the long-term hodlers are buying at this level. So needs to come down to sort of scare people out of buying. So it doesn't necessarily help them. If it drops too far, if it drops to their break-even level, that's where they jump in and buy Bitcoin and hold it there, because think of it like a business. If you had a business and your business was close to crashing, you're going to inject capital and fix the problem, right? It's exactly the same thing. So I don't know what the current miners break-even price is. I haven't been able to find that data. The last data that I could find was it was 34,000. So it is possible for us to continue dropping to 34. 30,000 at the worst case was their break-even level. Something between there, it is possible. If it breaks below there, then I think we're going to be in some pretty long-term trouble. For now, we've been holding that 30-34 range for nearly a year now. So I understand that people call, what is this, July 2021. I understand that people call 20K Bitcoin. Until you break this support, there's really no reason to believe that it's coming in. The other thing too is on the 4 hour, just looking at the candles alone, taking away all of that fundamental information, this here is the area of interest currently. This big candle here on the 4 hour is the area of interest because that was a very sharp shift out. That was in February 2022. That was a very shift out of a low level. And that big candle caused a massive imbalance, which you can see on the VPR here on the right-hand side. So it is possible that we come down into this range and refill that, rebalance that level. We would need to hold above there. That level is about 35,800. I wouldn't be concerned if we dropped into that level. I would actually start looking for potential change in trends at that level if it were to happen. Of course, if we then break down into a new low down below here at 34, let's just say 35,000 flat, then we're looking down into the 32s, the 31, 30K kind of range. So candles alone, you can see that we've wicked into this zone a couple of times. We currently are above it. As long as we stay above it, I think we're safe. But again, FOMC meeting next week, anything could happen. It could be that we have a little bit of a recovery. Maybe it's the Monday recovery and then a midweek reversal that brings us back down into this zone. But as long as we hold there, I think that's fine. Now, what else do I have to show you? I've shown you the difficulty. We talked about FOMC. Let's have a look at these significant trades. So we can see here currently, there's a lot of big significant trades here buying. I actually had a huge one that I captured for you guys earlier. Let me just see if I can find it. Oh, damn it, I didn't save it as anything. Is this it? Nope. Wait, I'll find it. Let me go back to here and see if it comes up. Oh, it doesn't come up. But anyway, I'll just go back there. There was a significant buy order of $10 million showing here previously. So people are definitely buying this range, but you don't just buy the lows. Like, there's no actual change in market structure right now, right? We've got lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. Like, there's no change. So until you actually get a change and a higher low is created, it's a risk to buy. And plus, you don't buy just on one candle, like on one bullish candle. So anyway, that's my rant. So I told you one was going to come. What else is there? 35 to 34 is very strong area of interest. It can take us to an interesting, it's definitely a very strong area of interest. 34, 35, I agree. Now, let's take a look at some altcoins. Solana, as you may already know, had a network breakdown today, network outage because of these NFTs. Why people are bothering with NFTs in a bearish market is beyond me. But anyway, it was as a result of bots trying to push through up to 4 million transactions per second. Was too overwhelming and the network shut down. Let's put this into perspective, because when you have a look at Solana on the 1 hour, this was a significant drop as a result of that network shut down. It was about 10%, right? Look, we're already recovering really, really well. The reason for that is when you zoom out on Solana and look at Solana on the daily, all it did was drop to a really significant level that Solana has held at since when? Since the 21st of August, 2021 here. So if you're a believer in Solana, I wouldn't even be worried about this. I actually did TikTok on this today because I think we have to understand that things like network shutdowns and whatnot, we're very new in a tech space where people are still just figuring things out. And when you buy a coin, if you're buying it to hodl, if you're buying it for long term, it should be because you believe in that coin and you believe in what they're doing. you have to understand, you have to be willing to accept as an early stage investor. And by early stage, I mean, because crypto is only, 10 plus years old, that we're going to run into problems, and a network shutdown to me is not a reason to panic sell. It's a reason to just buy. Like they always bounce back. They figure it out. It's, what it is. People abusing the network. It's not really the network itself doing something wrong. So I actually like that it's come back into my buy zone. It's not a problem to me at all. If you believe in it long term, more than a market cycle, then it's potentially a good area to dollar cost average. Okay, let's take a look at, what do I think of alt season? There's no discussion of alt season until Bitcoin actually creates a sustainable bullish trend. Alt season doesn't follows later. We don't have that on Bitcoin yet. But look, you know what? I did say this at the start of this stream, and I'm going to say it again. Everybody's waiting for me to pick the bull market because I called the last two right. I mean, by luck. I think we're close. This is the point. I've always said I'm not going to call it before May is over because we all know the sell in May, go away rule, right? We have to get through that. I do think the second half of the year is going to be better at this point in time. Even if we go into a recession, even if the whole economy breaks down, whatnot, all that's going to do is teach people not to trust the people that are in charge of our welfare. That's all it's going to do. So what's going to happen is just going to shift more people into wanting to take control of their own wealth, their own opportunities. And where better place to do that than crypto? So we all talk about crypto needing to decouple from the traditional stock market. My feeling at this point in time is that it probably will towards the second half of this year. That's just my opinion. You can disagree. You can whatever. It's okay. That's just my opinion. So no Lambo. Okay, for Lambo, second half of the year. I just have to wait a little bit more. Now, I can see some alt requests there. I will have a look at some alts. Before I have a look at alts, sorry, let's have a look at the leverage ratio. Not leverage ratio. Oh, this thing's going to take forever to show up. Liquidation levels for now. I'm just going to reset this. The fact that Bitcoin came down over a weekend puts us in a very good position for a short-term trading when the new week starts, because the market maker has now missed out on this big drop, right? So there's now a gap. If you have a look at the CME chart, there'll be a gap come Monday. They usually fill that gap. So in order to fill it, they have to go up, right? But looking at this liquidation levels, look how white the area is now, very close to price. Everything's been cleared out. The leverage, the people who chose to go long or short before the weekend, it's been cleared out. So, that leaves room for the market maker come Monday, Tuesday to start enticing people to take a new position. This delta currently is at 13 billion. There's more room in it. I would not be surprised if the fake move Monday is a fake move down. I would not be surprised. And then we move into the slow trend on maybe Tuesday. And then we have the FOMC meeting, which could make everything tragic. We don't know, or it could be continuation. But it would not surprise me if we have continuation down, maybe a fake move up first to induce some long traders, then a significant pullback, because 13 billion isn't really the level that causes a long-term reversal. I also don't trust reversals on a weekend. If you go and back test reversals on a weekend, you will find that 9 times out of 10, the reversal, the new trend that is created on the weekend, does not continue into the new week. And that comes back to the gap that's on the CME charts. They need to rebalance that gap. So if Bitcoin, for example, closed at 40K on Friday and we dropped to 38, come Monday, they're probably going to bring it back to 40K. Then they reassess and then they shift it wherever they want after that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little short-term rally early week, but we shake out a few more people and induce them to go short before we have that. Would expect a highly volatile week. Monday is a public holiday in Asia. Didn't know that, but thank you. That is definitely, well, Asia is consolidation anyway, and it's very boring for those of us who trade on Asia time. So it probably makes no difference if they take the day off, to be honest with you, but still good to know. All right, so now finally caught alive. Yeah, it's actually, I haven't been live for such a long time. It's good to be back. Now, I've nearly been going for an hour already. Wow, time flies. Let's get into some alts. Does anybody want me to have a look at alts? I did see Phantom before, so I'll bring that one up whilst you guys are writing in requests. Phantom. Oh, by the way, before I do that, just so that you guys know I haven't brought it up here. I'll just bring it up. Where's my website? I have a course coming out soon on stablecoin staking. So whether we go into a bull market or a bear market, this whole course is designed to help you design a stablecoin portfolio that is fairly passive with super high interest. I'm talking higher than what you can get on Anchor, so that eventually you can replace your income. Doesn't matter how much capital you start with, you need to work up to a certain amount of capital to be able to replace the average income. But the fastest way to do that is to use the same strategy to get there. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, just come to my website. The link is in the description below, and register your interest down here. And then when it actually goes live, you'll get an email to let you know. There you go. That's the thing to register. Now, let's have a look at Phantom. Oh, second of all, actually, before I do that, it is now the 1st of May. Might not be the 1st of May if you're on the other side of the world yet. It's the perfect time to join the Patreon for anyone that is considering joining the Patreon and wants to dive deeper. We do live sessions every Tuesday if you're in the first class section. They're also recorded if you can't make them live, but we really deep dive into these methods. Being the 1st of the month, this is the best time to join, because Patreon charges you around the 1st of the month and also at the time you join. So if you want that, the link is also in the bio. Now let's have a look at Phantom. Phantom is, I don't know anything about what this coin is doing fundamentally. I did used to really like it, but I don't like that it's broken this really significant level here. And also it's at the imbalance now. So this is the last most significant area here. The imbalance is just a little bit lower than where it is right now. So I would not be surprised if this came down into here before anything changed, and that could be a good area to buy if you believe in Phantom long term. The other thing is, if it fails to come down there, you'd be watching the 4-hour chart only, because look at this. This is a straight dive. Like, I don't know if something actually happened to this, but it's very, very, very bearish. If it didn't come down into that zone, it would have to change market structure. So you'd be looking for a higher low there. Let's have a look at the RSI on this. Yeah, okay, so daily RSI is really low. That's one positive sign for Phantom. 4-hour is also really low. So, yeah, I'd be potentially looking for a change in market structure, but I wouldn't just be buying it where it is now, because it could definitely bleed more into this zone here. Was there any other altcoin? You should continue to do lives. This is my first one, really. Thank you, Lazy Brennan. I will now that I have my cough cured. Joining tomorrow, Kelly, welcome. Can't wait to have you in there. Phantom is left for dead. Yeah, for me, when the bull market does return, there's only 6 coins I'm interested in investing in. I do dollar cost average into them already now, and I also was lucky enough to buy them when they were very cheap back in June, and most of them have not come back to that price. So Phantom, unfortunately, is not on that list. But I'm happily day trade it. No problem with that. First class is teaching me a lot. That's great to hear, John. What time Friday? 6:30 Melbourne time. So yeah, just need to work that out wherever you are. Yeah, I feel the market is very tentative at the moment because Bitcoin is very unstable. That's a really good point. And that point means that right now it's a trader's market. It's not a investor's market. This volatility and this wishy-washy up down, it's fantastic for traders, and it's a great time to be accumulating that USDT over and over and over, ready to buy when a final bull market is actually confirmed. The way that I personally invest in crypto is I always dollar cost average regardless of the price. I have it set up automatically. Wait, this thing is saying that I've paused. Have I? Be wary though that if Bitcoin decides to further head down during the week, this won't last. So I would have very small targets if you were to get that. All right, guys, I better leave it here because the internet is not on my side. I'm so sorry. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, if you like this video, please like, please subscribe. It helps me get it around the internet. I do go live 3 days a week and give you my ideas on where I think the market is going. And don't forget, if you want to join the Discord, just maybe wait till tomorrow just to be on the safe side, because it's the first here in Australia, but I don't think it's the first yet on the other side of the world. So just wait a day to be safe. And then Cryptability, if you're interested in that, just jump on the website and register for that as well. Thank you for joining me. It's been great to be back here. I hope you enjoyed this live. Be very careful this week. I will keep you updated on Tuesday when I do my market updates. See you later, everyone.